Special guest here in the house, Mr. Clint Hurdle. Would you welcome him into the house? Let me just kind of give a little orientation for all the control freaks in the house. What's going to happen today? So, here in a few minutes, we're going to sing some songs. And after we sing a few songs, we call that praise and worship, where we sing our way into the presence of Jesus. And then after that, we're going to have the first annual Chuck Canner Newcastle Community Impact Award presentation. It's going to be exciting. And then from there, we're honored to have Mr. Clint Hurdle sharing the message with us today. At the end of the service, we'll have an offering. If you're a guest, I just want to tell you right now, please let that offering plate pass you by. That time will be for people who have made a commitment to the Church of Genesis to give back to God a portion of what He's blessed us with. So please feel under no obligation to give whatsoever. We're just really glad to have you here today. There's a bulletin. Everyone get one of these? You can shake it out if you got one of these. All right. There's a little tear off. We call it a communicator card. We invite everyone to fill that out. We want to be praying with you. We want to be praying for you. Any prayer requests that you have, we pray for those every week. At the end of the service, during the offering, you can drop that communicator right into the offering. So, things are chaotic in the world. And obviously today we're talking of baseball, and there's war, and we have coaches here. But obviously it's very, very serious what's happening in Israel right now. And so we want to take a moment before we get into our service. So I invite everyone to stand. And we want to have a moment of silence for the lives that are being lost in this tragic reality right now in the Holy Land. We're going to pray for the families, the victims, as well as the people that are held hostage right now. So let's just take a moment of silence and ask the Lord to be present with them today. King of heaven, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, we ask that you would bless Israel today. We know, Lord, that you came for the lost sheep of Israel. And so, God, we pray for the prosperity of Jerusalem today. Father, we also pray for people all throughout the Middle East who don't know you. God, we pray that today, this week, and the months ahead, that many in the Middle East will come to know you as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Thank you, Jesus, that you came, you shed your blood, you rose from the dead, and you are King of heaven and of earth. Father, we pray that your glory, your love, your presence, your power would spread not only across the Holy Land, but here in Newcastle and to all the nations. We worship you because you are worthy to be praised. In Jesus' name, amen.
To worship this morning, either stay with us or stay whichever you would prefer. Who breaks the power of sin and darkness? Who's God this morning? And so is stronger. Sing with us this morning. Who breaks the power of sin and darkness? Whose God is mighty? said, amen. You may be seated.
Good morning. I have the great privilege of introducing the first annual Chuck Tanner Newcastle Community Impact Award. Pastor will often say to come with me on a trip and visualize in your mind to come with us to a place in Newcastle. If you'll come with me downtown, if you'll go across Mill Street, and if you go across the bridge, and right before you get to Jefferson Poultry, if you'll look to the left, you'll see a replica statue of the Statue of Liberty. And many of you don't know why that's there. I didn't know why that was there. I had to do some research about it as I prepared for this speech. And there's two signs that are historical landmark signs that say this way to the Statue of Liberty sign. And what I'm going to say next probably is going to shock some of you. Did you know that early in the 1900s, Newcastle was known as Little New York City? And the reason why that is not just because of our bustling economy, because we had steel mills and we had tin mills and we had a world-renowned pottery and china place, but also because of the place that Newcastle was known as a great melting pot. And we had people that came, peaceful coexistence of Slovakian and German and Irish and Jewish, and there were Middle Eastern from Lebanese, and there were Pakistani, and there were those that came from all different walks of life, including Italians and all kinds of different places, and they were here peacefully, and they came and they brought their cultures, and they brought their way of belief systems, and they brought their cuisine. And here's how I know that you're a son or daughter of Newcastle, because probably in the last month, you have gone to a restaurant and ordered a lamb sandwich. You eat hot peppers on everything, and you know where to go and get sauce that doesn't make you go like, right? You guys all know that, so you came from Newcastle, right? So we all like to eat here in Newcastle. That is something that is a holdover from being here. And this whole town, this small town that currently has about 20,000 residents, 35 in its heyday, has had such a tremendous impact on the world stage. It has had tremendous impact in the fact that it has had playwrights, and it has had authors, it has had scientists, it has had inventors, it has had leaders in the military and in business. It has had, from our little city, we have had people in places of government, in places of just tremendous outreach, and we've also had it in the world of sports. And just 1 hour south of here is the city of Pittsburgh. 40 minutes if it's really late at night, and Clint Hurdle and I have to get back because we're really tired and we have to get to church service next week. Okay? But 1 hour from here, and you know what? It's 60 miles. It's really about 50 miles to get to downtown Pittsburgh. But you know, it's only 65 miles to get to downtown Cleveland. But if you told me I was from Cleveland or a suburb of Cleveland, I might fight you. But if you told me I was on a suburb of Pittsburgh, I'd be like, yeah, of course, that's where we are. We're from Pittsburgh. We're just on the suburb of Pittsburgh. We actually very much believe in the mythos of Pittsburgh, and especially the mythos of the sports, the mythos of the sports. We buy into their sports groups. And here's why. Because we believe, just like they do, that we are very much a small marketplace. And we believe in the fact that we are just like they are. We have the same mentality. We believe that we will, through hard work and through a lot of perseverance and through integrity and through humility and positivity, we're going to overcome the things that have happened. Okay? And so out of those things, we have, out of Pittsburgh, and out of what we identify with, we have had a lot of success. We have raised 7 Lombardi trophies, 5 Stanley Cups, 5 World Series, 9 pennants, 3 wild cards, all out of this very small market team. And one of our sons was Chuck Tanner. And Chuck Tanner embodied these things that he learned from this community. And those attributes we list on the screen up there. Positivity, resilience, humility, integrity, and community. And he learned them from this community. And so we started this process where we thought, wouldn't this be a great idea? Wouldn't this be a fantastic award that we could kind of create? Wouldn't this be a wonderful thing? And you know what? It would be real easy to think today that this was a baseball kind of an award, right? Because we named it after a famous baseball manager. We have an amazing speaker who just happens to be a former baseball manager. And our very first recipient is an accomplished baseball coach. So it must be a baseball award, but it's not. We're actually giving it because of the impact that he's had. So, Coach Q, you have an impressive baseball record. But if that award was coming, it would come from the school district. And if you want one of those, I can talk to you. Okay, do one of those. But it's actually the impact that you're making on people. So, as important it is that you teach the fundamentals of baseball and the things that are important to get a good team and the principles of teamwork and the principles of baseball, it's more important the skills that you're teaching those young men that will continue to last far beyond the baseball diamond, and the impact that it'll have on them as they transition from young men into men, and the skills that you're bringing to them that will bring them past the diamond and into their homes and into their lives and into the community, and the things that you continue to bring into you that were brought up in you from this town, and then you're bringing a piece to them as they'll bring it to their children and beyond. That's the impact and the reason why you're winning this award. But it came about this summer that we started to think about, and we thought, geez, wouldn't it be great if we could have this award, and it would be just a fantastic thing, and oh man, it would be great. But you know what? It takes a long time to get from just idea to actual fruition. And we needed somebody on the inside to do that. Somebody that would be recognized by the Nutting family. Someone that the Pittsburgh Pirates would actually recognize it as an actual award. And we're honored to have that person with us who had to actually put their name behind it, put their clout behind it, put a lot behind it, and actually make it an actual award that is universally accepted as the fact that from Newcastle, from Chuck Tanner, this is going to be an award that is going to last and portray, and you're just the first of the recipients of it. And that person we're honored to have here today is Jim Lachima. So we are honored to have Mr. Lachima here today. So I'm going to let our pastor, Damian Williams, come and talk a little bit more about Jim Lachima.
Awesome. Mr. Lachima, long-time executive of Major League Baseball, worked with the Kansas City Royals, Pittsburgh Pirates. If these walls could talk, this man's been around a lot of Pirates history. And we've been blessed to work on a number of projects together. And humble man, a man of integrity. And so when we pitched this idea to him, Jim went to work and got all the proper approvals for us to be able to do this today. So Jim has some words he's going to share with us today. Would you welcome longtime Major League Baseball executive, Jim Lachima.
Thank you, Damian. Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here with you at Church of Genesis this morning. I was here for the first time last month with the Steeler event with Craig Wolfley and Justin Hardwick and Joey Porter's wife, Christy. And I was asked by Pastor Williams to come and say a few words today. I'm usually a behind-the-scenes person, but David's hard to say no to. So I'm not the gifted speaker that Damien or Mr. Hurdle are, so I'll keep this tight, but I did want to share that I'm very happy that I've had the pleasure of working with both Damien and Clint over the years, and I'm also proud to call both of them a friend. That's not always the case with people that you work with, that you develop close friendships and stay connected even when you're not working together during those periods, but that's happened with both of these guys, and I'm happy to play a role in the creation of the Winning in Life series. Happy to play a role in introducing Clint and Damien a couple of years ago and helping them reconnect for this event here today. As Damien mentioned, I reached out to, when I heard about the award, the Newcastle Community Impact Award, we wanted to name it after Chuck Tanner for obvious reasons. He's such a big name in this area. And I was able to connect with Bruce Tanner, Chuck's son, and I told him, I said, about the award, I said, Bruce, Church of Genesis has created this award, the Newcastle Community Impact Award, and they would very much like to name it after your father. And is it okay with you and the family if they do that? And he immediately said yes, that it was fine with him, and that he and the family would consider it an honor. And so that has come to pass. And Bruce also told me that he knows Coach Q and that his son played for John. So he's very pleased that John is the first recipient of the award. And John and I just met this morning, but I know he's a good man because he's got 3 rows of family and friends here this morning. Just a few words about Clint before I wrap up. I'm pretty sure Clint and I are the only 2 people in the room who have worked for both the Pirates and the Kansas City Royals. I was a PR guy for the Royals for 5 seasons. Clint played for the Royals when he first came to the big leagues. I was also the editor of the Pirates magazine for a little over 20 years, including all 9 years that Clint was the manager of the Pirates. So he is a terrific speaker with a great message. You're going to love what you hear from him today. And like I said, we're in the middle. I'm a baseball guy through and through. We're in the middle of postseason baseball right now. And, Clint went to the World Series as a player with the Kansas City Royals, as a manager of the Colorado Rockies, and as a coach with the Texas Rangers. He had a great career in baseball, and he's still doing good things with the Colorado Rockies. So, again, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to become familiar with Church of Genesis, and I look forward to continuing to work with Damien. Thank you very much.
It's an honor for me to just say a few words about Coach Q. And I'm going to invite you up if you want to come up right now. I'm a baseball guy, and I have a son. Who plays in college, and we've known each other maybe 12, 13 years now. And I've always heard about this, the Shannon baseball program and state champions, and this big shot program. And I get a chance to get to know this guy, doing drills with kids. And the thing I noticed when our son was 11, 12 was the world of baseball is extensive now and there's baseball players here, you know, the lessons, the camps, it costs a lot of money, and baseball over the years has become more of a suburban, kind of sport. But Coach Q, I can't tell you how many kids, from the city, from the country, who didn't have the resources to get high-level training. And there are literally hundreds of young men who've gone on to play high school and college ball because this man invested not only his time, but his treasure without recognition and quietly making sure that our city was blessed. Yeah. So, as we thought about the candidates, just, and let's not forget about the years teaching in the Newcastle School District. And so, John, you're a good man. We're honored to have you with us today. And before we present you the award, just share what God's put on your heart today.
Thank you very much, Steve. First and foremost, as we stand here, all the glory to God, because without Him, I don't have all these blessings. From my parents to my wife, my son, my amazing sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, coaching staff, dear friends, elementary friends, and my players. Honestly, I often just, in the last couple of weeks, why me? There's so many people that have done as much as me, and maybe more, and had the same mindset and the same purpose. So to actually be named this first annual award, extremely grateful and very humbled by it. As far as Chuck Tanner, to even be mentioned in the same sentence is surreal. And I go back probably about 44 years ago. My grandparents would pick me up at Rose Avenue School on a Friday, and we would head to their house. And there was dinner at Gidio's. The Gidio's restaurant is now Tanner's, Chuck Tanner's. And as an 8-year-old baseball night, I would wait for Chuck Tanner to possibly come through that door. Whether I felt I was going to get a baseball sign, paraphernalia, just maybe have a conversation with Chuck. The Covatellis were unreal, but I was there to see Chuck Tanner. And we did it every Friday and every Saturday. And so he did come in. He did come in, and he did not act like a World Series manager. And he was very humble. And he didn't forget where he came from. And he spent the time talking to me, and probably wasn't ready for. Hey, Skip, really? Jim Rooker, game 5, he was 4-7, and some baseball guys are getting in. He said, kid, sometimes you just have to go with your gut. So, and I hear that voice sometimes when I'm coaching. You don't always go with what you're supposed to do and what the scouting report says, but to be mentioned, it's amazing. Again, very humbled by it. So, Chuck Tanner fame. I tried to reach out to Bruce. I'm sure that he'll get back to me. I did coach Bruce Tanner's son, Jordan. I know Bruce, the same guy, see him in Giant Eagle or picking up food somewhere, and he just stopped and talked. Just down-to-earth guys that never forgot where they came from. So, as far as Jim, really appreciate you doing this. It means the world to myself, my family. And an interesting story that I'll share now. I'm going to go back and watch the video. He was involved with a lot of player development and everything else. But from what I understand, it might have sparked the Leland Bonds situation in spring training, and he sparked it. You stuck up for your media. Very interesting stories in the half hour that I spent with these gentlemen. Mr. Hurdle, 2013, we were in the stands, my family here, and we also shared something that I found out this morning, and we were able to talk about this because Clint Hurdle's from Michigan, and he's a diehard Michigan fan. He's been in the big house, and since my son's been born, we've been there, and we'll probably go for the Ohio State game this year. But I told him, I'm in there 110,000 people watching college football, but I'm not so sure that wasn't the most electric athletic atmosphere, especially, and we were blessed that Russell Martin's home runs went over our head. And so amazing to sit next to you. Truly appreciate you flying in for this. It means the world as well. And I know you'll do phenomenal things as you did in Pittsburgh with the Rockies. I'm anxious to watch how that develops. Your post-game interviews were amazing. Like I said, I saw the messages you were sending. Damien, the bubble. A lot of hard times out there, but so many positive things came out of it. The connections that I made with the college coaches, and one of the reasons probably why I was selected today. But I appreciate you wanting to help out. You jumped right in the showcases. Your son was a very cerebral kid that I enjoyed coaching at the age 10. I'm watching him develop at Grove City. He's probably, how many inches taller than he was back then. We had a little middle infielder, cutest kid in the world, great hands, and now he's 6'1", hitting in a 3 spot. He was a 9'10" guy, right? But without you, I know the push, pushed my name, and again, truly humbled by it. Thank you so much for today and letting me share this with my family, friends, and players. Mr. McVatter, where's it? McVatter. Where did he go? He's right there. All right. Listen, I appreciate everything. Honestly, I think it's a good point. I pay attention who's on the school board in Shannon, but I don't really look into it deeply, and so it's the first time we met, and that's a good thing, I guess, when the coach doesn't mean a school board. But I appreciate the kind words, right? And truly appreciate everything. So my team right now is saying, oh my goodness, the game speeches are 4 hours. He has a mic. I'm going to try to make this as quickly and as painful as possible. But there's just so many people that I have to thank, and I'll keep it short with each one, because to be honest, without these people, I'm not here. I'm not standing here. This award, this moment, really has very, very little to do with me, and I mean that sincerely. If you really sit back and think about it, and the way you're raised, and how you grow up, and then you go away, and then you get married, and then how you continue to sometimes be raised while you're married and molded, right? Just would not, everyone here, and I wish I could name everyone, but from my cousins to, again, former players. Some former players showed up today on a Sunday morning. Current players, administration, coaches, and then my lovely family. I really and truly don't know why I'm here, but no disrespect to this, but I appreciate it. So, ironically, Mahoneytown. It's where my mother and father met. It's where my grandparents landed. And it's where I grew up and thought it was Disney World. Progressive filled. Under the lights, watching the Iron Dukes, and literally didn't need anything else. We had make sure we got a fry and a little plastic Coke in a plastic cup that we can actually use as a handball and learn how to compete while the trains were going past, and we were hoping that they had double headers because we didn't want them to end. So many friendships that I still have today were built here in Mahoneytown, so it's ironic that we're standing here in Mahoneytown. As I move on, I will start with my parents. Integrity, positivity, resiliency, humility, community. I wasn't born with those 5 attributes. They were instilled consistently through love, through tough love, through a lot of happy times on the east side of Newcastle here in Avenue. I go past that house anytime I pick up food from Cedars, and the memories that are there are amazing, and you guys are more than a huge part of who I am today. I am today who I am because of you, and I'm very blessed still to be able to tell you that in person, and that's why I call you guys every single day and try to see as much as I can. So those 5 things came from you guys. Love you. My sister, Alyssa and Nicole, I could lose a game by 10 runs or blow the game in the 7th inning, and it still was never my fault. Biggest supporters in the world, sometimes overly supporting at games, have to watch, especially my older sister, trying to cause chaos with other teams and parents from other teams. But it's all love, and they're your full families with all my nieces and nephews. Just mean the world to me every single day. I pray for you guys, and every single day I hope that you will continue to grow and keep the family, the closeness that we have. And along with Alyssa, my brother-in-law Roger, like a brother that I never had, and he's always there for me, and he never lies. And so I hear it after games or whatever it is, and I cherish that. Also, Nicole, the blessing came with Mark here in the past year, and welcomed in the family. Definitely have jumped in and taken over with the help of the kids and the needs of the world. So, and my nieces and nephews, I love you more than you ever know. My aunts and uncles and cousins sitting in the back. I can't even really say I've seen everybody a little bit when I came in, but I appreciate it that you came up with Lou. I told you Notre Dame was going to win last night. We talked 3 or 4 times a week, and that, you know, again, maybe he'll go over a couple moves with me, what should have been made, but when I can't imagine what happens out at McDonald's if anyone would ever say anything bad about Coach Q. Cousin Perry would have to probably escort him out. So, Anthony, Mel, I appreciate you guys coming. So, Pat Q was the brother growing up. My cousin Pat, I see him. It kept me humble. It gave me humility. I was a cocky little guy. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. And you gotta have that older brother that I didn't have growing up, and go down to West Pittsburgh thinking that I was pretty good, and come home thinking I probably might not play again. So in all aspects, I appreciate that and cherish it. So one of the things that I learned growing up was surround yourself with great people in school, in college, okay, in coaching. First thing when I was hired as a head coach, I decided to go and find the guys that I knew had the same agenda for the kids. And my coaching staff over here, just amazing people. Okay, Del Senchek, Wes Gibson, Frank DeLuca, Coach Latta, Kurt Latta, and to my surprise, they bring my whole team. And it means the world, guys. Someday you might be able to put your hands around the young kids when you see guys that you're getting in the tail, and some guys aren't playing, and some guys just maybe aren't happy, but we're still grinding, and we just put in about 6 weeks of baseball, and then you get up on your Saturday morning or Sunday morning early to come and see Coach Q and talk for a half hour. I appreciate it. And everything you guys mean to me, you mean the world, and that's why I'm still doing it. And, it's amazing. And real quickly, going back to Huron Avenue, my Little League coach is here. Okay, Redstone. And so, when you talk about growing up fast and being held in check and someone being brutally honest with you, I thank you. Because I was 9, his son was 8, we were playing with 12-year-olds. Chuck, he was like a brother to me back there. And we decided after every game at Dean Park that we were going to go up to his house and stay there. For what? We knew it was going to happen. How'd we do? How'd you do? You struck out 3 times. You struck out. Well, we're 10. I don't care. You played. You were terrible. How'd you do? But in the end, he knew what he was doing to mold us, and there was a lot of positivity. But I'll never forget my Little League coach who taught me the fundamentals of the game and how to compete. And I can't see anyone else out there, and I just really, truly, if there's anyone, friends that came in that I didn't see, till late, I just can't thank you enough. Johnny Sansone, I see right here. You might want to tell Morella that lunch is going to be late because I'm having the microphone. But him, more than him, and I love him to death, but his son, one of my all-time favorite players, but not because the kid went to Florida State, started 4 years, not because he's one of the greatest players ever played for us, because of his humility and what he does for the community now. He's giving back to the community and kind of following through, and my son has been a big part of that. And it means the world. Dr. Meehan, Lisa, I appreciate it. And we have administrators over here, Mr. Passarelli and Mrs. Niesel. I would not coach in another school district. I always say I'm very extremely blessed. From 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the morning, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I teach and coach. I have for 28 years of what I feel is one of the best school districts in the world, and it was very true to my livelihood, and I grew up there, Newcastle Area School District. And then after that, again, all the glory to God, I'm able to go in a different setting and then coach young men at what I feel right now is the most productive, academic, athletic, combined district in the world. And it has to do with leadership. Our facilities are second to none. Our people are second to none. And I will not coach anywhere else. Whenever I'm done, it's going to be there, and I'm there for life. So I appreciate the opportunities every single day. So, positivity. Guys, after a tough loss, I need help on that one, right? Okay, the positivity, in-house. Yeah, you know, sometimes the other side of Coach Q, right, the fierce competitor, the guy that wants to win over the world every single day for you guys. But also, there were times that I brought it home. And I would stop at the gym and try to get rid of the frustration that was going through of whether or not I didn't execute or we didn't execute or we weren't prepared. And my mother-in-law and my father-in-law who live with us, John and Cindy Pelko, oftentimes would see that in me. And not necessarily I didn't have to go and slam the door or do anything, but maybe just walk past everyone and not be the person that I am. And I fought that for many years, and I'm still fighting it. And thank you for putting up with it, because I apologize, because I feel like I missed out on some time because I didn't have a balance. Truly didn't have a balance. And I'm working on that. And it's going to get better than it has been, because the reality is the people at home, your closest friends are texting me, our coaching staff, after a tough game or a state championship loss, for the people that care most about you, and you realize that they're blessings that help get through. This is just a game. So many people are going through so many things in life. Now, I'm not going to walk away from a loss this year either. I can guarantee you happy smiling. But definitely trying to work on a balance for that. And it's like, okay, Mark, can you put the oven on? Can you do this? You got my dinner ready? My father-in-law, amazing. And I thought I'd share this now, and I think I have to. That one of the toughest guys I know, 3 years ago, they gave him 2 months to live. And we're in a church here, and I want to continue that prayer for him, John Pelko, and this is a true blessing. All the tough times that we've been through here in the past several years, this guy's still standing. God bless him, probably healthier than most of us. So we're going to continue that. And Mr. Hurdle, I have to tell you, this is the guy that has watched every single inning of every Pirate game. And he hammers Shelty more than he did you. That's all I can say. Shelty gets it from the bedroom more than you did. So, but there's people out there like Dwayne Mancini is from Elwood City that I get a phone call or a text after every playoff game. Most supportive guy that I know. And again, we could have played Elwood. We won't tell Coach Wise that, but thank you for your support. I see Frank Augustine, Mark Olisco, who was my high school coach. And I was getting to that. And then my North County coach continued to mold me. I got mad at Mark one time because I had to play right field in one game while this guy was playing his last game at second base. That was just a fierce competitor to me. And then he ended up being my boss. And good thing we made remorse over a sandwich. Guys, I'm in closing. Okay, the people are here for me, and if I missed anyone, okay, I see everyone right here, Nana and Roger, Michael, and Loretta, and everyone else. I appreciate everything. I'm so sorry if I missed you. I want to call up and next Sherry. Sherry, we're praying for you and your family. Sherry went through a very tough time. Won't get into detail. In the last month, and for you to be here, standing here, for me means so much. And we're here for you. We're praying daily. I need my wife and my son to come up here, please, and I'm going to close. Please, come on. My beautiful wife, Sybil. And my world, John Anthony. you guys for the past 26 years, and you'll be 21 here in a month. But you didn't notice. The first several, I'm sure, have put up with more of the chaos, more of the time away, more of the other guy that other people don't see. It's not a terrible guy, it's just a guy that wants to give his heart and have one kind of goal, is just to keep the program on the very top and win championship after championship. Well, sometimes the ring and the gold medals sometimes stood, and not too many times did I cheat you guys. I never told you no, but indirectly I think I have. And I apologize for that, and I wake up every single day for you too. And I have to make sure moving forward that I give you guys everything of me before I give it to the Newcastle School District, the Shannon Lancers, and anybody out there who needs help in the community. So that's where we're going to move forward, and you guys just, you're my world. Once again, I appreciate everything here. Mark and Andrea Kaiser, I know that I didn't forget you. I see you back there as well, and shout out, we get all here from there. If you guys need anything from here, hey, Red Zone. Guys, on a serious note, thank you so much. I appreciate it very much.
Positivity, resiliency, integrity, humility, and community. This is you, Coach Q. Thank you. Yes. Dismiss our kids to Noah's Ark, but we are family here, so we want you to find someone that you know and someone that you don't know, and just welcome and greet each other today.
yards, 155 runs at 246. We're a great guy to have behind that. He's looking
It is my honor and privilege. This man does not need an introduction. That was a great moment in PNC Park history. Would you welcome not only a great baseball manager, but an awesome man of God, Clint Hurdle.
I'm going to bring some help up to start my time with you today. I got JD with me, right? JD's going to help me out here. Come on, let's get it. JD walked up the stairs a lot better than I did. Let's pull this out front. I've got some notes. I want to tell you, I'm so excited to be here today. I really am. I'm absolutely excited to be here. A couple reasons why. Number one, it's never not good to be in the nuke. I mean, I have a very good friend, my daughter's mentor, I should say tutor growing up, Nazariah, has a mentor, a lady that worked with our family for many years. Her name's Jean Calgena. The Calgenas here live in Newcastle, so I've been in Newcastle a few times. This is not my first trip in here, all right? We've been to the corn maze. We've done stuff, all right? But I'm here today to hopefully share a message of encouragement. I want to honor Coach Q, his family. I want to also encourage you all that you're in good hands here with Pastor Damien, because he's in good hands with God. I talk to God all the time. He tells me things. He shares. But to start it off, I'm going to use a little representation today, and JD's going to help me. See if is this one turned on as well? I'm going to use this one to JD. See if it works.
Hi.
Unbelievable. We are on stage together. How cool is this? Huh? That's cool. So, what do I have in my hand? Talking?
$20 bill.
$20 bill. This $20 bill is going to signify my life. My walk with Christ. Okay? That's the symbolism of the $20 bill. So, how much value do we have in this bill when I fold it in half? How much is it worth now?
$20.
Correct. I'm good in school. So, I've sinned, I've stumbled, I've fallen. I fold a $20 bill in half, I've compromised myself. Fold it in half. Still worth how much?
$20.
Brilliant. I folded it again. I sinned again. I yelled at my wife. I yelled at my kids. I lied. How much is it? How much am I worth?
$20.
You ever seen somebody do that with a $20 bill?
No.
I just did. So I've been stepped on. I've been compromised. I'm divorced. Twice. I'm an alcoholic. 24 years sober. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. Okay, I'm a mess. How much is it worth?
$20.
You're brilliant. Now, how about this one? You ever see anybody do this?
I just did.
This is actually mentoring. I'm growing him up. Look at this. I weigh way more than you. You can step on it. Step on it. $20. Never stepped on it before. Step on it. Jump on it. Again, one more time. Just yes. You ever felt like this? You ever felt like you've been stepped on, punched, drugged through the mud, nothing's working, nobody's paying attention, I have no value? Nothing's working. I got nothing. But when we give our life to Christ, what does he take with a $20 bill? He unfolds it very carefully, deliberately, slowly, sometimes slower than we want. He slowly works out the wrinkles. He puts us back together. And you can take this $20 bill down to Eaton Park and buy stuff, right? Because it's worth how much?
$20.
So everybody in here today, I don't know where you are. You're not here for coincidence. You're not here by chance. Hopefully you're here to honor Coach Q and honor God and Jesus and the church and your family here. But Jesus changed my life. One of the beautiful things about sharing testimony in the church is you can't argue with me. You can't argue with me about what Jesus has done for me. So, based on your participation today, and the fact that you got every question right, how much is this worth? Last question. If you get this one right, you're going to win something. How much is this worth?
$20.
There you go. Coach Q, unbelievable, huh? It's so good. It's so clean. It's so crisp. And when I think of Chuck Tanner, I think we just saw a walking, talking definition of Chuck Tanner, as Coach Q shared with everybody today. The authenticity, the transparency. I'm going to give you a line, Coach Q, the next time you get one of these awards you want to honor your wife. So, behind every good man, there's a much better woman. Damien? Behind every good man, there's a much better woman. There's a lot of good men in here, I believe. There's better women. So, it's so cool to see all the love. It's so cool to see all the support. It's so cool to see the honesty, the transparency. As we talk about, Chuck, I was fortunate after the 2013 season, I received a Chuck Tanner Award. Actually, when I got to Pittsburgh, I did a lot of work, did a lot of homework. Y'all were mad. You lost 18 consecutive seasons. So I called people, I talked to people, because I want to put my fingertip on the pulse of the city to gauge how much angst was in Pittsburgh. 18 consecutive losing seasons. Longest losing streak in North American history. I had a bunch of people telling me where I should go and what I should do. One of them was my wife, Carla. She got family in New York. I was interviewing for the Mets job, interviewing for the Pirates job. And she kept telling me, you played for the Mets for 9 years, and I've got sisters there, and we've got family there, and you got... I'm going, yeah, but I don't know. God's telling me I need to go to Pittsburgh. She's going, well, I don't know if God's talking to you. God's telling me you need to go to New York. But as I did the research, I read on Murtaugh. I read on Tanner. I read on Jimmy Leland. Unfortunately, I got to spend a lot of time with Jimmy Leland, and I still do. And these were grown men that poured their heart and their soul into the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team because you all pour your heart and soul into Pittsburgh sports. And the one thing that I was overwhelmed with was the passion, the relentless passion at times for your ball club. And I thought I had a good feel for it. I did. And then we hung 2 more losing seasons up there. No, now I really did. The 18 that I wasn't here for were no big deal. The 2 that I'm here for, you all let me know. Not in a bad way, just let me know. And I'm going to tell you about a conversation I had, and then I'm going to get into a little bit different message. But on September 15th in 2012, I'm in the dugout. And Vera Clemente's with the boys, and it's Roberto Clemente Day, and we're honoring Roberto throughout the city. We're serving, we're honoring, we're feeding, we're doing everything. And the boys call me up. Said, Vera wants to talk to you. And I'm like, great. Vera got to say. Vera doesn't speak much English. The boys speak English. So they say, get together. We get in a huddle. We got 3 sons, and they got Vera. And she's talking in Spanish. Yeah, I understand Spanish. I played 3 years in Venezuela. I played a year in the Dominican. And I can speak Spanish. Basically, she's saying, Clint, you guys have 20 losing seasons. There will not be 21. I had a grown woman look me in the eye and tell me there would not be 21 consecutive losing seasons. After the blood fell from my face, through my body, through my feet, I felt the presence of something. I don't know what it was, but I thanked her, I hugged her, I kissed her, I thanked the boys, and I said, I don't even know why I said there won't be. And I said, I promise. You know how many promises I've made in my life? I got 2 ex-wives, I'll tell you a few of them. And I'm not making fun of divorce, because I'm going to get into that in my sharing. I'm not. It's part of my mess that God's turned into my message. And it's part of my misery that God has fueled into my ministry. I told that woman, I said, I promise. From that day on, there wasn't a day that I didn't think about what we're going to do next year, what we need to do next to honor her, basically. It wasn't even about honoring Roberta. I'm going to have to face this woman again. There's going to be another September 15th, and hopefully I'm going to be the manager. So you know the joy I was able to have in that year 2013 to see her back. And we were already in a good spot. And to get a hug. And to get some love. So today, all I'm hoping to do while I'm here is give you a hug, give you some love. Thank you for the hugs and the love that you've given me. The 9 years that I was here as your manager. The 10 years that my family was here. There's always fingerprints on success. You mentioned it this morning. There's all kinds of fingerprints. You got so many fingerprints on you. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. I got fingerprints on me. There's so many fingerprints on success. And we gave it everything we had over here, my family and myself. And we got really, really close. And my hope is that you all do experience a 6th World Series championship. So, let's have some fun. Let's smile a little bit. Most of the guys, I think you've already started making you feel better about yourself. Did you ever think your manager would be a guy that was divorced twice and recovering alcoholic? Did you put in for that? Did you send that one in the suggestion box when you guys were, John Russell got fired and said, who's next? Yeah, let's go grab that guy. God has prepared me for my future through all my past, if and when I pay attention. A lot of times I didn't pay attention. It's kind of the reason I ended up divorced twice. Kind of the reason I ended up as a recovering alcoholic. I've been married 23 years. It's not forever. It's not a long time for some. My mom and dad have been married, oh my gosh, we're closing out 67. Amen. But I've been married 23 years. The ladies have already done the math. How long have I been a recovering alcoholic? 24 years. Think that's got anything to do with sustaining my marriage this time around? Really? It's the biggest reason. I got to a point in my life where I was that crumpled up $20 bill. I was saved at 17 in an FCA event in high school. And the pastor that gave the message and the call, he was the first man I had encountered outside my father, but the first man I encountered that cared more about my soul than anything else. Every other guy I knew or coach, how far I could throw it, how far I could hit it. And it wasn't bad, it was just the sport world that I was in. Men measure things, women don't think that. You ever notice that men measure stuff? Even stupid stuff we measure. And we like to compare. And when we compare, we think we're being smart, but I can't speak for every man. I'm speaking for myself. When I compare, I think I'm getting smart. And then what I found out over time is when I compare, there's two things that can happen. Neither one of them are any good. I'm either better than or I'm less than. They're two of the seven deadly sins, I believe. And pride. So when we compare, this man didn't compare anything. He just let me know that he loved me. And he was hoping that I could find an eternal home and maybe a church family and do some good things besides on a baseball field or a football field or a basketball court. Pastor Len Turner, still alive, living outside of Atlanta. I talk to him about once a month. How about that? And the pastor ended up baptizing me, so I'm off and running. 17. I used Jesus as an ATM card for 23 years. Another thing I'm not very proud of. But I'm going to give it to you straight up, transparent and authentic. I'm a flawed human being. 23 years I used to use an ATM card. Can anybody here relate to that? Get some when you need some? Everything's good? Hey, I got it. Back off. You've been pretty good, God. My time. Okay? And then it breaks loose again. And anybody ever say this prayer? This is my favorite prayer. This is my favorite prayer. Lord, if you get me out of this mess, I promise I will never, ever do this again. Anybody else ever use that prayer? I thought I had a patent on it. It was all mine. But man, my life was all over the place. Number one pick out of high school, college scholarships, academic scholarship to Harvard. Did you know that, Jimmy? Jimmy's a good friend. I had an academic scholarship to Harvard. My mom didn't mess around when I came to school. I made 1B in high school. JD, you're going to laugh. I made 1B. You would never guess, I'm not going to ask you. I made my B in driver's ed. It's the lamest thing you can do. It's got to be like the easiest course to pass. It'd be like getting a B in gym. I got a B in driver's ed. Long story for another time. But I had options coming out of high school. But man, it was just fast track. It was stuff. It was things. It was people. It was places. It was things of the world. Money. People used to say, Clint, you chase girls. I said, no, that's not my problem. I catch them. I said, that's my problem. I've always loved girls. And now I'm in love with a woman. So I kind of figured that one out. But it was the world. It was what men did, you know. It was what I thought the definition that society puts up of what a man is. Play hard, drink hard, chase hard, run hard, hard. Man, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And it got to the point where 2 divorces. And I'm waking up in the morning thinking about where I'm going to drink tonight. What am I morning drinker? I got my class. I'm going to drink in the morning. But what a mess. I'm playing ball. And then actually coaching still in the late 90s with the Rockies. But when I showed up here, I was sober. And I was on my way. And I truly believe to this day that when I recommitted my life to Christ, 40-something, about 42, I went through male menopause, ladies, just so you know. Sometimes you talk about female menopause, it's a real thing. I understand, trust me, I believe it. But I went through male menopause, where I wake up and it was the same as Groundhog Day. What am I doing?
This is not that big a deal. Oh my gosh, I'd show up, I'd punch the clock. But I rededicated my life to Christ basically because I started dating a girl from Pennsylvania. Muncie, right outside of Williamsport. Carla Jr. Carla made me date her for 6 years. I hadn't dated anybody since I was 18. Dating was the thing. But we dated for 6 years, and I got to a point where things were getting better, but things still weren't right. I mean, I'm still drinking. I'm still doing some stuff. Then I finally said, you know what, if I let this girl get away, I think I'm just going to be a lonely man. I don't want to be a lonely man. So I asked her to marry me, not for the right reasons. This beautiful little lady from Muncie, Pennsylvania, looked at me after being with me 6 years. She goes, Clint, that's an interesting question. I said, Carla June, that's not the answer I've grown accustomed to. And she said, well, she goes, there's days when you're it. She goes, you're it. I see it. I love it. I want to be with it. And she goes, then there's days you're not it. And I don't want to be with it. And you need to figure some things out. She goes, because until you can find a way to make yourself happy, you will never make me happy. Wow. On top of being beautiful, smart, I mean, Jen, she's way smarter than me. Comes from a family of 8, the Urichs, last born child, seen a lot, done a lot, grown a lot. And she said, I'm going to hang around a little while longer. Let's see if you figure this thing out. If you do, it's going to be great. If you don't, I'm not going to be here much longer. That was it. She never told me what I had to do, that I had to stop drinking, that I needed to go back to church. But that night, I hit my knees again. And I said, Lord, I'm a guy, right? So I'm going to make a list. Coach, do you make a list? I made a list. I was going to rededicate my life to Christ. I was going to get sober. And there were 16 other things on that list because I'm going to nail the list, you know? And as I do them, I'm going to check them off. And then if I do one that I didn't write down, I'm going to do it, but then I'm going to write it down on the list again and then check it off. To this day, I can't tell you what the other 16 are anymore. I rededicated my life to Christ, and I got sober. And I think one of the best things I ever did in that period of transition, obviously give my life to Christ, but then as I'm getting sober, I'm a guy, Coach Q, I don't know about you, Damien, anybody else out there, but you ever been that guy that, you know, when you're doing something, you keep asking everybody, well, how am I doing? I didn't check in with Carl every week and say, aren't I getting better? Am I better? Am I doing better? Huh? How am I doing? Huh? Coach, tell me how I'm doing. I just kept my mouth shut and I just kept doing it. Just kept my mouth shut and just kept doing it. Kept my mouth shut and just kept doing it. Then I could tell things were getting better, but I was still a little nervous. 2 years down the road, I asked her to marry me again. 2 years later. That's how much that I want to make sure I was in it for all the right reasons. Then she looked at me and said, well, I thought you were never going to ask. To this day, she's got me wrapped around the finger. So, if you're out there and you're not sure, and you know, it ain't right, God will get it right. I never would have been manager of Pittsburgh Pirates, named manager of Pittsburgh Pirates, if I hadn't got those 2 tasks right. In my mind, rededicate my life to Christ and get sober. And in the last 24 years, you can't even count the blessings I've got that I didn't see coming. Because I don't doubt my mind, I rededicate my life to Christ. That's not why I did it. Blessings I can't even make up. Blessings. I got fired here and I got paid for 2 years not to work. First time in my life ever that happened. I've never been paid not to work ever in my life. In truth, though, that's a wonderful blessing. I got to go home. The mission became my house. And about 3 weeks into that, my wife goes, boy, having you around all the time's a lot. We had 2 kids who go through school. I retired in the middle of November 2019. I told my family I was going to take a uniform and put it in the closet and sign a contract with the home team. Sounds cute, right? I thought it was smart. That's what I told everybody. So I did. And then March 15th, you all went home with me. The whole world went home with me March 15th when COVID hit. So the only thing my wife's ever stunk at in her life that I'm aware of is homeschooling her children. She tried it 1 year. One spring training. I'd get up at 6, I'd come home at 4, and it was like separating animals. Maddie, Christian, her, I see a side of my wife that it was like a Ghostbusters movie, that the people that were inside of these 3 people and the arguments and screaming. So homeschooling was over after 1 year. So when COVID hit, we have 2 kids in high school. We get the calls. Hey, okay, can you get Clint on the phone? Yeah. Because Cardinals Clint, you need to listen to this call's for you. And they're telling me the curriculum I'm going to have for 2 high schools walking through. So I actually, this blessing I didn't again, I got to homeschool our 2 teenagers all through COVID. If I was working, I never would have got to do that. I mean, it's incredible. My wife didn't have to do it. I read Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer again after 47 years. I was doing math problems, and I got no idea that the answers don't even matter anymore. It's the equation you got to write up properly. My small posse of friends was Google, Siri, and Alexa. They were my 3 best friends. Do you all know about Maddie? One of the blessings we didn't sign up for. Maddie's 21. Maddie's born in Colorado. Maddie grew up here. Her wonder years are here. Maddie just turned 21. She was born with a birth defect. So again, rededicate my life to Christ, get sober. All giggles, right? All high fives. We have a child born with a birth defect. That's pretty heavy. They call you down the hallway in a sterile room, and they tell you, hey, this isn't pneumonia, this isn't cold, your child has a birth defect. This is going to affect her equilaterally across her range the rest of her life. Because there's never been a cure for a birth defect in the history of the world. Okay. Did you see that one coming? But we're gonna do it. We'll figure it out. Well, the backstory, ladies. My wife went through female menopause around the age of 30. Didn't even know it. We tried to have kids for 3 years, and we would go and get tested. Finally, and found out. Actually, one of the rudest questions they ever asked was, "Well, Mr. Hurdle, we need to check you too because you're 10 years older than Carla." I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? No, sir. This is the thing. So everybody gets checked. And we found out that Carl has no eggs. 0 eggs. So we have 2 options. We can either adopt, or we can harvest eggs from somebody, and we can fertilize my semen and plant them. Carla picks her sister, who's about 6 years old, and Carla, to have a baby, to have her eggs. All right? So there was a period of time when I was managing Rockies that you all didn't have to go through this difference. I was giving hormone shots to 2 women over a 6-week period who were both living in my house. It was the second worst time in my life after the homeschooling event earlier, with 2 kids in my life, to have 2 grown women, because the hormones, the things, I mean, it was crazy. Crazy. But Carla gets pregnant. And to go through all that and then find out that the baby we have has a birth defect. God's plan, not my plan. God's ways aren't my ways. There's been hard, but there's been so much good. Maddie taught me patience. She taught me unconditional love. She taught Carl and I unconditional love. Carl and I probably got a place in our relationship that we never would have gotten to on our own. I'd like to say, I figured it all out the third time. I figured it all out the third time. God helped me walk through it. My wife poured into me, other people, kids. Maddie's now 21. Maddie works 1 day a week at a dog supply store. Maddie volunteers 2 days a week at Humane Society. Maddie had her first alcoholic beverage on her birthday on August 7th, Hurricane Hates on Anne Marie Island. She had a pina colada, her mother had a pina colada, and her father had a virgin pina colada. Everybody on the island knows I'm recovering drunk, so it's not like I'm going to get served anywhere. Maddie had her first cocktail, and a week ago today, Maddie, we got her back in the Special Olympics. She participated here a little bit. She won a bronze medal and a gold medal in the state finals swimming. And she's probably still wearing it today. This part of her she's got is like her dad. She's got a couple medals. She's bringing her medals to school. She's bringing her medals to bingo. She's bringing her medals. God knows so much. I don't know what's best for me. I'm still doing 66. God gave me Maddie for a reason. I have 2 other children. Ashley, who's 38, grown girl. Married 2 years now. Never was engaged. She was held on heels for about 15 years. You young girls out there like that, your daddy, I don't know. But she took after her dad. And Ashley's now been clean and sober for 9 years. Her husband for 10. But the collateral damage, my former ways, no doubt, play a part of that. But she's cleaned up the inside of her bowl. He's cleaned up the inside of his bowl. Both saved. They've been baptized. Ashley's daughter I'm never going to have, 38 now. She moved back from Texas to be close to my mom and dad and my 2 sisters in Florida and to work. Ashley has stretched me and grown me in ways that only Ashley could stretch me and grow me. God chose me to be Ashley's father. God chose me to be Madison's father. God sprinkled in a boy. Christian is now 18. Christian is a little over a month in the Culinary Institute of America, north of Poughkeepsie in Hyde Park. Wants to be a pastry chef and a baker. After his first year of T-ball, at the age of 4, I asked Christian how it went. He looked at me and goes, "Dad, way too intense. I'm out." And I go, "What is this?" He goes, "I don't know, but they do it to you in Pittsburgh all the time." You can't make it up. And he's a man of his word because he never went back. Christian picked 3 sports. Right? 3 sports. I'm a baseball guy. Okay? Maybe he'll come back. Maybe. Tennis. Okay, there's a piece of wood. No, it's not even wood, it's metal. There's a ball. Yeah, but you hit it. I knew nothing about tennis. Really. So he stole the joy that a father should have of having the opportunity to overcoach his son and to second guess the coach. He absolutely robbed me of that joy by picking tennis. I just showed up, I brought the snack, I hung out, I cheered for everybody, I drove everywhere around. No disrespect, I was a soccer dad. I wasn't a soccer, I was a soccer dad. So then we get out of tennis, and I'm thinking, group sport would be nice. He goes, karate. Karate? Really? Oh, Dad, it's great. Love it. I said, like Kung Fu Panda? He goes, yeah, Dad, like Kung Fu Panda. I'm like, okay. All right, let's go. So he goes, and he tells me, Dad, tomorrow we're getting our uniform. I'm thinking they would call me. Uniform? Okay, yeah, good. Go get your uniform, bring it home, we're going to see what's up, give him the money. Comes home, goes, Dad, want to see my uni? I'm like, yeah, buddy, put it on. He puts on white uniform. It's an Obi. And I said, that's not a uniform, son. They gave a name. He goes, yeah, that's an Obi. He goes for karate. He starts doing all his moves. And And it's wide open. I'm going, hey, Christian, did it give you something? I mean, you got things hanging out here. You can't fight with a thing open. And he goes, oh, wait. Check it out. I think dude's got a white belt. Man, that's like the lamest belt though, right? That's what you get when you're a beginner. You get a white belt. He goes, Dad, I got the white belt. I'm going, yeah. He goes, it's the greatest belt ever. I'm like, well, what do you got? He goes, it means I know nothing and I get to learn everything. I wrote that down because that's what I do. And I took that to the ballpark the next day, and we put a whole sequence of events for mental skills in about weight belt mentality for my 9-year-old son at the time. So, karate, right? I can't over-coach my kid. I can't second-guess the coach. I'm starting to get a little, pissed. I did nothing but second-guess most of my life. There's a time and place for it, right? And the young coach can second guess. That's what you do. I want to be that parent. I would say, well, I was the coach. Because when you're the manager of a Major League Baseball team, there's a whole lot of people who can do your job better than you. So he finally picks his third sport. You ready? Crew. It's a fantastic sport. I've come to love it. You sit down backwards and you row a boat. And he does it in 8, he does it in 4, he did it in the quad, he did it in the 2. We went all over. He did it for 4 years. We went to Boston, we went to Atlanta, we went to Tennessee, we went to, what was it, the mouth of the Charles, all the races. Crew. Can't overcoach my son, I can't second guess the coach. So, God put Christian in my life to shape me and stretch me in all those different areas. I just needed to watch and pay attention and not coach and not overreact or underreact. Just be there. Be present. Be where your feet are. But here's the funny story that I believe, and then I'm going to go close. So, we're in Pittsburgh. It's the off season. And the Hurdles have rules in the off-season. Dad shuts up, doesn't make one decision, and follows whatever Mom says to do the whole off-season. I mean, that was the rule. I stood in the gaps, I filled the gaps, I was a utility, pinch hitter, player, whatever. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday night were movie nights. We love movies. So Christian comes up to me one day and goes, Dad, you won't believe it. He goes, when's my movie night? And I said, I think yours is next week. It's Carla. And he goes, Dad, tonight, will you trade with me? It's yours tonight. Will you trade with me? And I'm like, well, what are you going to give me? What do you want to trade? He goes, Dad, I got the movie. You got to see it. I'm like, what's the name? He goes, Dad, it's the best movie I've seen all year. I'm like, okay, what's the name of it? He goes, it's Pitch Perfect. My mind. Oh my God. My son's out throwing in the backyard. He's got a curveball now. He's pitching. He's working on playing baseball. He's going to come back. My son's going to come back. He's making a comeback. Oh, yeah, let's watch this. Let's sit down. We got popcorn. The movie comes on. I'm like, hey, what? There's nothing but girls and they're singing. And what's going on? And there's a trailer, right? There's a trailer. This is the movie. I'm like, what? Pitch Perfect. And he goes, Dad, pitch. The pitching. We watched Pitch Perfect. And because I'm a man of addictions, I said, did they make it Pitch Perfect too? He goes, oh, Dad, by the way, they did. I go, boom, put it on. We watched Pitch Perfect 2 that night. The next day, guess what happened down the movie theater in McCandless? Pitch Perfect 3 hit. I watched all 3 Pitch Perfect movies within about 24 hours. God has put those 3 kids in my life to stretch me, to grow me, to be the man that He wants me to be, not the man I thought I should be, or the man my buddies told me I should be. Because I will tell you, being a Christian is the most manly thing I've ever done. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. It's one of the most grown-up things I've ever done. I've done everything else. The cat in the Bible, Solomon, I'd have been his bestie. I'd have been his best friend. Tried it all. Things I didn't like, I did again just to make sure I didn't like them. Brilliant, right? Well, that's my mess that God's turned into my message. There was a lot of misery, and God's turned into a ministry. My mom and dad are still alive. They're going to be 90. My dad will be 90 in January, my mom will be 80 in December. Both my parents have told me the thing that has made them the proudest of me has been my walk with the Lord and my recovery in sobriety. So, when your mom and dad tell you stuff like that, it hits you in the heart, it cuts you in the core. And I'm going to honor my father as I walk out here. The first ball we played with wasn't a baseball. Okay? It was a football. My dad got a football from the PX somewhere. We took it out back. We tried to kick it. We tried to catch it. We threw it. We were both clumsy. It didn't work out very well. Matter of fact, we both were getting very discouraged. Like, what are we doing? We're not having fun. What's going on? It's brutal. What kind of ball is this, Dad? He goes, well, by the time he was about trying to explain, the neighbor came over from the side and says, hey, so you guys play ball in the backyard. He goes, football, right? He goes, yeah. He goes, you know, if you put air in that football, it's much easier to play catch with it. We didn't put air in it. It's hard to play catch with a football when it's not filled up full air. But my dad, go back to my father, when I was 5 years old, really started my walk into life by one simple question. He came up to me holding 2 gloves and 1 ball. He said, hey, buddy, you want to play catch? 61 years later, I'm still playing catch. And I did just have a catch with my dad back at home 2 weeks ago when I was with him. By the grace of God, we'll have another catch. If not, we will have another catch. Right? I can share my failures with you all day. But I am going to close now with 2 things from Chuck. Chuck said there are 3 secrets to managing. The first secret is to have patience. The second secret is to be patient. And the third most important secret is patience. Many of you saw me in that dugout for 9 years, and people would say, sometimes you're just really stoic. I said, well, sometimes. I said, I wanted to make sure when all hell was breaking loose, the boys could look down at the end and knew somebody had their hands 10 and 2 on the wheel. But what you saw and what was going on inside are 2 different things. You ever see a duck in a pond? What do you see on top? Sure. I'm a duck. I'm like the coolest thing in the water. Underneath the water, what's it doing? It does paddle his little backside on it. The last thing I'm going to share with you from Chuck, you can have money piled to the ceiling, but the size of your funeral will still be dependent upon the weather. You got to love some Chuck. There's going to be a day where I'm going to lay it down. God's going to take me. And when I get there, you think he's going to say, hey, Clint, how many games did you win as the Pirates manager? I don't believe he's going to ask me that. I think he's going to say, son, what'd you do those 17 years of that chair that I gave you when you were manager? What'd you do with it? Who'd you bring to me? Who'd you impact? Who'd you influence? Who'd you love on unconditionally? Who'd you represent? The name on the front means something. The name on the back, honor, that's your family. And it was an honor to work for you all for 9 years here in the city of Pittsburgh as your manager. Thank you.
Yeah, you can remain standing. Let's give it up for Mr. Hurdle one more time. Yes. You can be seated just for a few minutes. God turned a mess into a message. Is there anyone here today who is humble enough and courageous enough to admit that you don't have it all together? Why don't you look at your neighbor and say, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. Our Father is patient. Our Father in heaven. Our Father in heaven is very, very patient. Our Father in heaven is very patient. He's the God of second chances, third chances, fourth chances, 5. And so I know this would not be a complete day without giving you a chance to come back to your Father. So, on your bulletin, there's like a little thing you can tear off. And there's a place there that says, today I'm committing my life to Jesus. There's another place that says, today I'm recommitting my life to Christ. If you're doing that today, you can just make a little mark there. We want to get a Bible in your hands, help you take some next steps. There's also a place where you can put some commentary. You could put something like, I'm a mess, I need help. We'll reach out to you. It could be whatever. It could be marriage help, addiction issues. This is an atmosphere of grace. If you're perfect, the moment you came in here, because of your imperfections, this atmosphere became a place of imperfection. We're all messed up. But God. So let's bow our heads, close our eyes. You can say it softly under your breath. I'm going to just kind of lead us in a prayer, a short prayer. And it's going to be very, very simple. Just say, Dear Heavenly Father, you are so patient. Thank you for using Clint to show me the Father's heart. I come back to you today, or I come to you for the first time. Forgive me of all of my sins. I've messed up so much. Wash me clean in your blood. Make me a new man. Make me a new woman. Change me. Clean my bowl. Make me new. In Jesus' name, amen. We're going to take our offering at this time, and then we're going to close. At the end of our service, we're going to have Coach Q and Coach Hurdle up here, and instead of going out the back door, we're going to encourage everyone to come up the aisles and they're going to do a little, kind of a pastoral reading on the way out, just a chance to say hello to you. Again, before we do that, if you're a guest, you see this little offering basket, just let them go by. Okay, we encourage everyone to drop your communicator in there, but please don't feel obligated to give. God, thank you for the generosity of people here. Use this offering time so that we can make a small difference here in Newcastle and all around the world. In Jesus' name, amen. time, just thank Coach Q and Coach Hurdle. So we're not rushed out. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask Coach Q to come up here up front, and also Coach Hurdle. We're not going to rush this reading time, okay? So those of you that have children in Noah's Ark, I want to encourage you first to go dismiss your kid in a safe way. Come back up here. We're going to have, about 45 minutes or so of this kind of greeting. I encourage you to line up on this side over here. Line up down this aisle, out this way, and then out the back door. So, this week, go turn your mess into a message. Go with love and power. Let's do this list.